Put it on, girl. Let me see it. Put it on, girl. Let me see it.
Let's get the latest trial tea with someone who has been inside the courtroom since day one, who packed up, left Los Angeles, set up shop in New York. Please welcome journalist, author, TV host, and my fellow co-host from TGIF, Armon Wiggins. Welcome, Armon.
That was a great introduction. I love that.
How are you? It's been a long time since
I know. That was good. Hey, guys. Hey, Erica. Hey, Claudia.
Hey, Armon. This is such a privilege for me. I can't even tell you how many people would pay to be in my position right now. Like, this is the family reunion that we so needed, and I am just so honored to be here.
Well, I'm excited. I thank you, and your voice is amazing. Like I wish I had a radio voice like that.
her voice is so silky smooth.
It's perfect.
We needed to balance out this gruff and scruff and rasp. So she saves the day with that soothing voice. So Armon, thank you. First of all, I know this is kind of cutting into your time because you go live at the same time. So I just want to just reiterate.
But you know you're my girl though. So I'm like, we had to get work done together at some point.
Yes. And I appreciate that because you are really killing it out there. There's a couple of people that are really, really bringing the coverage to the people like from inside the courthouse, and you're doing it every day. So you sacrificed. You left LA, went to New York, and you set up shop out there, right?
Yeah. So I got an Airbnb, and so I'm here for the duration of the trial. We're just gonna see how it goes. It's been intense, long lines, early mornings, sleep schedule's been off, eating schedule, personal life. It's kind of been crazy, but I mean, it's worth it though, because this is a monumental case and it's a lot going on and so many like twists and turns. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if this is as easy as people think it is for it to be an open shut case with Diddy. I honestly don't think it's just going to be over that easy.
So has your opinion changed from the beginning? Because I know in the beginning you were like, oh, this is kind of just like basically a bunch of freaks, right?
Well, yeah. Well, the thing is this. The evidence is the evidence. It's there.
Yeah.
But the team is so darn good. The defense, you're left like thinking, well, maybe, maybe you're right. Well, maybe maybe like, so in my opinion, if I'm just being honest with you, I don't know how this is going to go, but I would not be surprised if Diddy walks away. And I'm not even being funny.
Well, who took the stand today?
Okay. So today there was no real fireworks today because Kid Cudi was supposed to come today, but at the last minute, at 10:45, he sent an email, 10:45 last night, like, I'm not coming.
What? Like not coming, period, or not coming today?
Well, he's not coming today. So hopefully he shows tomorrow.
You can do that?
I get he didn't show. He was supposed to be the last witness for the day today, but he didn't come.
Wait a minute. You can't even send an email saying you're not coming to jury duty. How are you sending an email saying that you're not coming to take the stand?
I don't. Well, the same reason why that they subpoenaed Gina, which was one of Diddy's ex-girlfriends and ex-baby mamas until she had the alleged abortion. And she is nowhere to be found. She was supposed to be a witness.
Doesn't that play into some of his charges of intimidation, coercion? I mean,
they brought her up today too because they're like, well, let me tell you something. Today, the defense and the prosecution, they were arguing today, but I want to get into who was there. Okay. Mm-hmm. There was a guy from Homeland Security. So today was kind of like, Homeland Security and experts on the stand. No real celebrities today, no real major fireworks. But even in that though, his defense was able to like kind of switch the narrative. But we did get Gerard Gannon. He's a Homeland Security from Miami. And so his job was to pretty much, get the search warrant and then go into Diddy's house, raid the house, and take out, whatever evidence they can use against him in court. And so
this is what we saw, the public saw in the news.
Yes. So did you guys want me to go over some of the things, or did you already know what it was? Because it was a lot of stuff.
Well, can you give us like maybe the biggest bombshells that have happened today or this week?
Okay, so today for sure, what we saw, he had so what they uncovered in that house was, a pink, like a clear like 9 pink pills. They were tested for MDMA, 5 yellow whole pills and three partial yellow pills. That was Xanax. 6 other white pills that was Xanax, 10 other whole Xanax pills, white residue on white residue around the pill bottles and white residue around the straw that tested positive for cocaine and ketamine, eye drops with liquid MDMA and ketamine, clear plastic containers full of cocaine, clear plastic Ziploc bags with cocaine and ketamine, orange Tesla pills, 3 of those with MDMA, more Xanax, 5 more Xanax. Then they found another container of Xanax, 5 more Xanax, $100 bill wrapped up with residue of cocaine. Then they had a bright blue pill that tested positive for meth and MDMA. This is all in Diddy's medicine bag. Then they had a blue-green partial pill that was tested positive for MDMA. Then they had a blue-green tab that was tested for meth and MDMA. Then they had a yellow.
Like, just to reiterate, because I want to be sure that we have this right. This was in Diddy's personal bag. This isn't like
no. Okay. This is in his. So this is in his Gucci bag, in his room. This was all the stuff that they found in his little. This was part of his freak off bag. Like Diddy has a drug problem, and I don't know if this is how they're gonna, pin the RICO and the enterprise and say like, everybody was in on the drugs, because I'm not sure how he's doing all of these drugs by himself. This is over 100 pills. Like, you at this point, we're like, it's a lot of drugs in there.
Yeah,
and then the countless bottles of baby oil.
I grew up in the club ages in the early 2000s was my coming of age. And I can see that being some people's personal use. It certainly doesn't give distribution. But yeah, I can see that being some people, especially where he found himself to be at this point.
That seems like right amount. I feel like giving it to your people to like coerce them, to make them do things. Mm-hmm. Like that's like maybe not to distribute, but enough for your like inner circle, like, hey, take this pill. I remember being in Vegas and people will just try to shove a pill in your mouth. Jerome Trammell from Fox Soul, the Fox Soul family, is in the chat, and he said liquid meth was crazy. Was it liquid meth?
It was liquid. It was liquid. It was in the eye drop. It was in the eye drop Lumify bottle.
Damn.
Yeah, so he was, and then countless. So you remember that thing where they were saying there was 1,000 bottles of baby oil and everybody was laughing? Mm-hmm. I believe that that's true, because everywhere Diddy goes, there's at least 50 bottles of baby oil.
What's with the baby oil though? Was it drugs in the baby oil?
We haven't got that far yet, but he has like this kink with having men and the women be very oiled up. They have to be extremely oiled up. And at the slightest moment where they're seeming like they're not glowing, it's more oil. And he would direct them to put on more oil. And so that was part of the vibe, because it was like can we say no, we probably can't. It's like corn, like the people replace it with pea, corn. So he likes to watch like live corn. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so you put on this oil and it's like a sex scene. And it's like he watches it and he directs it. And then, some of the craziest things, though, that kind of came out, which was yesterday, when the Punisher, which was the male escort, he came and spoke, and he said that Diddy would want him to finish on Cassie. But in the finishing, he would have to ejaculate on Cassie's vagina. Like, there's a particular place where he has to do it, on top of the vagina. And then Cassie would get up and then walk in the room with Diddy. And if you guys know the story, then Diddy would play with the semen, and then they would play in the room. You know what I'm saying? It gets really graphic. Yeah. It gets like that.
Here's the thing. If he gets off on the charges of RICO and all that, he's still like scarlet letter for the rest of his life. We're all like, ugh, right? Like, it's like...
Is he though? Like, we haven't read any of the comment sections on the very split opinions for people. I mean,
letting a girl put the jizz of another man on your nipples is just like,
well, that's the requirement. So, because if they don't ejaculate, they don't get as much money. So their payment gets reduced. So if you don't come, you don't get a full payment.
So he loved the come.
Yes, that was a requirement. Actually, one of the escorts that testified week 1, he couldn't ejaculate, and so he got paid less. And he lied to Diddy and said hey, I'm gonna come. And he faked like he did. And then Diddy, they came out, they said, did you come? And he was like, no, I didn't. And then he got less money.
Did you see the photos I got out of the alleged sex workers, the men?
Yes.
Why was one of the guys on the list with my old agency, one of my talent agencies in LA?
The black guy.
They call him Johnny, but we knew him as Edmund. He was from the Caribbean. He's do backflips all the time at Venice Beach. And then there's one at the bottom. I think I hung out with him before. It looks exactly like this guy. I don't want to say his name in case it's not him. But the bottom row, there's a brother that has the really tight eyes. We filmed something in LA before, and he was kind of evasive, like kind of like hard to pin down, like where he was, what he really was doing. But he was like a model, like us, maybe. And I'm like, oh my God, like LA is small.
But here's the thing: are these guys gay though? I don't think they're gay, because here's the rule though, and there's a rule that goes into this. You're not to look at Diddy. You're not to engage with him. You're not even to acknowledge that he's there. So Diddy never interacts with the guys. He'll just direct Cassie to tell him what to and tell her what to do, like angle over, move to the left, turn the lighting this way, angle your body that way. Diddy usually sits in the back, wears a mask. Well, it's kind of like those like the Muslim ladies wear, like he'll wear that, he'll wear a hat, and he'll sit in the back and he'll like be masturbating, but he wants to see the men sleep with Cassie, but they're not allowed to make eye contact with him. Actually, one of the men actually made eye contact with him and he cursed him out.
Of the two guys that I know, one I thought was gay and one I didn't think was, because one was trying to kind of hollering at me a little bit, right?
Okay.
The first one, Johnny, I would see him in passing in the business for like many, many years ago, and he kind of just disappeared. But so his kink is looking at the men masturbate. He has an obsession with.
Well, it seems like he is a puck.
What's that?
Well, like when a man enjoys watching another man. But okay. All right, you have said a lot. And I do appreciate this firsthand account from being in the courtroom. But to Claudia's point, I believe 2 other men have been identified as former cast members on the reality TV show Gigolo.
Ash is one of them.
Yeah, so I don't think the pipeline from entertainment to whatever we're gonna call this is. I don't think it's a big jump there. And the entertainment industry is very hard. So, get it how you get it. But I would definitely say, at this point, there just aren't any more lines. Like there's just,
I wonder if, did they, I know it's been on the internet and there's a lot of like misinformation out there, but didn't someone come out recently saying that Diddy's alleged genitalia was very petite, like it was like the size of a Tootsie Roll?
Now, I didn't hear that one, Claudia.
You didn't hear
that didn't come out in court.
Okay, well, it's been on the internet, and I wonder if, like, because of his like alleged shortcomings, that he just enjoys someone else pleasuring the woman the way he can't do it. I don't know.
That part I don't know, but I think what's more important is how is he gonna get off with beating Cassie? And I really feel like they're doing a decent job with just making this seem like there were 2 drug addicts that were dangerously in love and doing domestic violence to each other versus coercion and sex trafficking. They're making this more of a drug-fueled domestic violence relationship, which he's not on trial for, versus coercion and sex trafficking.
Well, even though with the mom's testimony yesterday saying how she was blackmailed for $20,000, like that does seem like that was pretty. Was that pretty damn? Was that?
I think the mom's testimony really did help. But then we had today a lady by the name Dr. Dawn Hughes. She's like a forensic psychologist and a clinical psychologist. So her whole thing is she works with, domestic violence victims, trauma victims. But she's heavily leaning. She's a heavy feminist for sure. Right. And so I don't know if this is going to work out because majority of the jury are men. And the thing about this woman is, the thing about this woman is though, she kind of lied on the stand today and made it seem like she didn't know anything about the case, right? But yet they found out that, she was kind of helping the prosecution, with the debriefing and building the case and kind of the points that she should go over. And so Diddy's team came out and was like, and then it came out that this woman, while she's supposed to be a clinical psychologist and all of these things, well, she's been doing trainings on how to be a professional witness in criminal court cases. So while she was trying to break down all the different traumas, which she had me going, because there's sexual abuse, you get trauma from that. There's physical abuse, there's financial abuse, which everyone that's attached to Diddy in some form has been abused, whether it's been financially, whether it's been sexually, physically, mentally, emotionally, like from the security guards to the sex workers to Don Richard to Cassie. So you could kind of find everyone's story in there, and the different things that that trigger their abuse and trigger their memory loss and trigger their anxieties and things like that. But then at the same time, the defense did such a great job and made this woman look like a fraud, because it was like, well, girl, your whole career and your whole job at this point, first of all, you're getting paid $600 an hour. You're getting paid $6,000 to sit up here and testify. And you haven't wrote any books. You haven't wrote any articles on teaching about, forensic psychology or, clinical psychology. But the last thing that you taught was a class on how to be a professional witness on the stand. So they're like, girl, this is actually your job, and you've been working with the feds, and so you have a bias. And the thing is, how can you assess someone's trauma if you haven't interviewed or talked to anyone? Because they did this whole spiel about how she's supposed to sit and talk to people and get information to see if they're not lying and see where their trauma exists. But how can you just give all this general information and expect the jury to think, oh, all these people are traumatized, when you allegedly know nothing about this case? So they flipped it on her like, girl, you don't know anything, so all you're talking is a bunch of gibberish. Like, they've been really doing their big one, flipping everything on the prosecution.
I have a friend who was with someone that was with the FBI, and formerly, and he travels and he gets paid for his testimony as an expert. So I understand that. Eric, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I did want to ask really quick. I've heard reports about one juror that is a woman that seems that she's like kind of rolling her eyes, kind of like she said, one of the witnesses, she said she's lying. Were you there for that?
I didn't see that, but there is kind of a black juror that she be kind of in and out, and she kind of be like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if they're going for, I don't know, because here's the thing with Cassie, and I'm gonna just be honest with you. I feel like if Diddy jumped up in that courtroom at that moment and was like, you know what, Cassie, I'll take care of you and your kids, and let's just make this all go away, and let's get up and move to Dubai together, she would jump off that witness stand and be with him with her baby in her stomach. And leave that man. I feel like that. Yes.
No.
Yes.
Anytime I hear, and like, I'm just saying, I don't want to feel that. Anytime I hear something like that, I go back to the night before it was announced that Diddy and Cassie were together.
You guys hung out.
And I was with Cassie, and I just remember the craziest thing about it is like how young, like I was young, but she was a baby. So I do play this out in terms of like how susceptible, and me being someone who was very sheltered in a lot of ways and very naive about a lot of things. How easy is it for someone to come in, infiltrate your mind, body, and spirit, and turn you into someone completely different, especially at that age? So, I mean, that to me speaks more to the Dr. Dawn testimony about the psychology behind being groomed and isolated for so long, and how that can actually change the trajectory and path of your entire life.
And I think you're 100% right on that. I think everything that you said is 100% right. But the problem is this. We know that, right? The evidence is out there. It's clear, in my mind, it's clear that Diddy is guilty. No, hands down. However, the lawyers are so good. It's just going to boil down to who's the better legal team? And honestly, Diddy's team is stronger than the prosecution to me. They don't back down.
Insane. You would think like federal case. Are they likable? Who's more likable?
Honestly, they're just like honestly, that six pack. They're just white women. They're white women. They're white women. Diddy's team, they don't play. They don't play. They do not play. They fight, they argue, they get to it, and they don't back down. No one really backs down, but that team over there on that cross-examination, they're going to rip you apart. Anybody that gets on that stand.
So who would you say has been the most compelling witness for the prosecution versus the most compelling witness for the defense, regardless of who called them?
I think Cassie, was the best for the prosecution because, she set the groundwork. You know what I mean? It was, you felt it. The worst for the prosecution, I feel, was Dawn Richard. Completely. They destroyed her on the stand. Oh God, they destroyed her on the stand. It was nasty. I felt so bad for her. They destroyed her on the stand.
What do you think about people and I know we got to go, so I'm gonna let you go in a second. People like day 2, they're like, oh, this is over. There's no RICO, but this is an 8-week trial, isn't it?
Yeah, it's supposed to be. They're trying to wrap this up by July 4th. So Kid Cudi will be there tomorrow. So maybe you'll add fuel to it. Here's the thing. I leave every day not knowing because I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm not on no side. I'm on the side of right. Here's the thing. With the Diddy situation, I feel like he needs to pay because I can't get past the abuse. Beating this girl, dragging her, hitting her head on the brick. Like, to me, I just feel like you got to pay for that. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's not about how I feel. It's who can make the better case. And I think it boils down to the lawyers. And he spent a lot of money and he's got a hell of a team.
Well, thank you, Armon. We appreciate. We'd love to have you back at some point during the trial. If you have time, can you please squeeze us in?
Yes, please. Invite me.
This was great, and I feel like I was there because you were there, and thank you. We really appreciate this. This was good for us. So we appreciate you.
Thank you, Erica. Bye, Claudia.
First of all, we got to give you a prop. We need people to follow Armon. His channel is super entertaining, and he's really, really good at what he does. Armon is by far one of the best storytellers on all of YouTube. No, you really are. Like, thank you. You really, really are. Before I even met you, like I was watching, feeling like, but you really are good. You're fantastic at what you do. So I cannot wait to see watch your report. So thank you so much.
All right, guys. See you soon. Bye.
Sure.
Put it on, girl. Let me see it. Put it on, girl. Let me see it.